Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my WWE Raw review for this evening, June 9th, 2014. Alright, a lot of newsworthy things on Raw tonight. If you see my Raw preview, I was preparing for two things to happen. Just all those things happen. Of course, we saw what would the Shield do as they try to plot their revenge over the Benedict Arnold of the Shield, of course, referring to Seth Rollins. And of course, the situation about the Money in the Bank match. That's how it would begin Raw tonight. A decent little Raw, nice and good action. Qualifying matches for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Of course, until tonight, we didn't know officially if the Money in the Bank ladder match would still be for the briefcase or if it was for the championship. Of course, we all know D-Bry had to undergo neck surgery a couple weeks ago. And we didn't know if he was still medically unclear or clear or not. If he was medically cleared, he would be taking on Kane in a stretcher match. Whereas I said in my Raw preview, and of course, news surrounded today that backstage, D-Bry was at the Minnesota Target Center, despite storyline claims he wasn't there. That he was going to be at the place to undergo medical procedures and go through tests, and it's now official. When it comes to WWE television official, D-Bry has been stripped of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and the Money in the Bank ladder match will indeed be for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, not for the briefcase. Now, I'm wearing a shirt in honor of D-Bry. I've always been a big D-Bry supporter. I'm not like many others. I just joined in a bandwagon once it got hot. I bought a Yes sign 2 years ago to a wall in Detroit. And I could see the potential in D-Bry. Didn't think he was going to grow to be this but potential. And the comments were like insane by 70 Triple H that the A-plus player. Indeed, not. He's a B-plus player who can't make an A-plus recovery. They're really feeding in this heel persona of being the authority. They really honed their craft about playing the heel so well. They were heels, but I hated them personally. I was really into hating him as the asshole and the slut in the McMahon and Hemsley era. So now they're making us hate him again by playing the ultimate heels when it comes to really playing it well as the authority. So I hate to see D-Bry be stripped of the title. I hope that when he does come back, he does get a fair shake and gets a shot to be champion, but it depends on two things. Storyline-wise, when it comes to if he's going to be demoted again, and more importantly, it'll come down to the fans' response. If D-Bry comes back and gets the same kind of response he left, the fans still want him to be champion, the fans still love him, they still chant yes in unison, maybe he'll be back to being champion. But if he comes back and gets not a good pop, his career could be done. Who knows? Or his push could be done, should I say. Not only that, we got an announcement about the Shield, the remnants of it. Of course, for the Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose will be in a 6-man tag tonight against the Wyatt family. Who at the time it seemed to be a 2-on-3 handicap match. But we would see someone would join the fray. But now on to the first of two of the Money in the Bank qualifying matches tonight. We of course knew Del Rio would be a part of the match. He qualified last week. Being of all people I wanted to be in that Money in the Bank match, Dolph Ziggler. Hope he gets another shot at being in it. Randy Orton, being on vacation, was inserted in the match without having to qualify. Well, it makes kind of sense to me because Randy Orton never really got his one-on-one rematch against D-Bry after losing the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. Now, if you see my wall preview tonight, I predicted that about five guys who should be in the match that I wanted to see in this matchup. I wanted to see Ziggler in the match. I hope he gets reinserted. Another guy I wanted to see in the Money in the Bank ladder match, well, at least was in the qualifying match as the Intercontinental Champion, B&B, Bad News Barrett, took on the U.S. Champion, Sheamus. Now, every time these guys have fought in the last couple weeks and months, these guys just put on an excellent brawl every time. And boy, oh boy, there's just no fucking exception. Once again, these guys just brawled and had a great fight. Yet again, great action from both these guys. I think these guys have great chemistry together. And adding the intensity, hyping it up with it being a qualifying match for for not just a Money in the Bank match, but a Money in the Bank ladder match for the briefcase, not for the title. For the WWE Championship. And he just brawled, and it's just very demanding, physically demanding match, as it always is. We get these two guys together, the bare knuckle style of Way Bare Knuckles against the Brute Celtic Warrior style of Sheamus. And the crowd in Minnesota, they were kind of good tonight. Especially there was a lot of, Sheamus fans, a lot of people chanting for B&B. A lot of B&B fans in Minnesota tonight. And it looked like B&B was going to qualify. He looked pretty good, especially in the later half of the matchup. Delivering the winds of chains, trying to deliver the Bullhammer elbow many times during the matchup. It looked like he was finally going to weaken Sheamus enough. He whammed him against the outside. He beat him up against the steel steps. And like I said earlier, Wade was trying to go for his big moves. So was Sheamus. He was going for the bro kick many times. But after getting pummeled in the corner by Ray Barrett, almost getting disqualified, and getting some big nasty hits and kicks in, there was one kick that ended it all, with Sheamus finally getting that bro kick that he needed the most, that mattered the most. And the bro kick ended up being the 1-2-3 victory for Sheamus, getting qualified for the Money in the Bank over B&B. Now the only reason why I think Sheamus is in the Money in the Bank match over B&B, because B&B needs a more little push. But also I think we needed a babyface in the match. Because you look at the first two guys were heels that qualified, being Del Rio and Orton being inserted. So we would see Sheamus being the first and only face. Now we saw, when Sheamus was added, we saw 4 empty spots left. Seemingly looking like it's going to be a 7-man Money in the Bank match for the WWE Heavyweight Championship. Or it might be 8, but they're not telling us yet. So, there you go. So, like I said, I would love it to the match. Like I said, the ending was kind of sudden with, Wade just dominating over Sheamus in the corner, just eating that bro kick out of nowhere. But hey, good match anyway. Once again, great chemistry for both these guys. Speaking of guys who are getting pummeled, Zack Ryder once again got fed to the Bulgarian Brute, the Russian guy now, Rusev. Now, make fun of the commentary all you want. Michael Cole was at least smart, saying that we had to sit through that stupid award ceremony last week of Rusev getting a little medal. It's a weird wall when you get... You had cultural references a lot. Last week you had what? Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift references. This week you got an HBO show reference, which I'll get to, and an Obama reference. Now, they're trying to be really political with this whole Russian thing. Like they mentioned Snowden went over people's heads. They probably said backstage to Lana, mention something that the Americans will actually know. It won't go over their heads like your reference of Snowden. Make fun of Obama. Can't believe they did that. Have like some Obama tape of him working out and calling him a sissy. Well, I don't talk politics, and I don't want to go into my little rant of Obama. That's another story for another video if I had the balls to. Anyway, Rusev once again pummeled Ryder. I love seeing Ryder on TV, but I'm afraid I've got some bad news for Ryder. Once again, like I said, getting fed to the brute known as Rusev. So, typical squash for Ryder against Rusev. Now, on to our next little tag team matchup. Axel, involving Goldberg, Ryback, teaming up with Curtis Axel, and of course his home state, Minnesota, of course the home state of his family, of course the home of Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, and of course his father, of course Curtis's grandfather, Larry the Axe Hennig. They were teamed up against Goldust in this continuing revolving door of new partners. Last week was Sin Cara on Raw. He teamed up with Kofi on SmackDown. He was trying to work his magic with another new partner, being all true with Cody watching backstage. This is Cody, of course, left because he thought he's the missing link, the weakest link. But as we would see, I think Goldust is the weak. I said it last week that we've been seeing the seeds slowly being growing about the Goldust Cody Rhodes breakup. That I predicted last week that the way they're gonna break up is Cody's gonna think he's the problem, but he's gonna see Goldust still lose his matches no matter who his partner is, and Cody's gonna say, "It's not me, it's you." That's why I think they're going to break up. And this was no exception, with all Truth trying his humble best to try to get Goldust back in his winning ways. Goldust will be fed to Curtis Axel and Ryback, so with another victory following a great offensive fury from Goldust after delivering a big spine buster on Ryback. Axel would come in with a roll up with the tights, mind you, in a 1-2-3 victory for Ryback. So once again, giving Goldust another loss. And then a little bit later on, Cody's like, you're going to have a new partner, another new partner this week, or next week, should I say, who you've never seen before. I thought they were giving hints about Ted DiBiase Jr. coming back on Twitter, but that wasn't to be. So we'll see who this new partner, and once again, and I do mean a new partner for Goldust is next week, as we see this continuing dissolving of the Cody Rhodes Goldust relationship. Now, on to our next little scenario, which involved a 3MB. And I was like, oh no, please don't let it be another silly, this is the feud that doesn't end. Of course, referring to their never-ending feud against Los Matadores and, of course, El Torito. But I didn't see Hornswoggle. I was like, okay. I thought they were going to bring out Hornswoggle. But I'm happy that 3B was in something else besides another stupid match with Los Matadores, because they were calling out the Shield. And the Shield came out, pounded to hell out of 3B, tossed them out of the ring in easy fashion, despite being outnumbered 3 against 2, of course, with Rollins being out of the picture, being the Benedict Arnold. And I've always thought that Roman Reigns was like the breakout star, and I've been a Rollins guy since the Elimination Chamber. That great performance in the match against the Wyatts that really showed me that Rollins should be a big star, and I see how this heel turn does for him. Indeed, Ambrose, many people thought Ambrose was going to be the breakout star, but it was like an afterthought, especially after what he did with the U.S. Championship, not defending it a lot. But his promo tonight is probably one of the best promos he's given as in his entire run of being the Shield. This Rollins turn has really amplified him because his promo, his words were just so visceral. Like, I'm gonna put your nose where your ear is. I'm gonna make you eat your hair out. He was just going really psychotic. He was like going out of his mind. Probably one was out of body experiences that Ambrose has had. And that was a crazy promo given by Mr. Ambrose. Then he gave the mic, of course, to Rollins, his former championship tag team partner, Roman Reigns, of course, saying that I don't want just to beat up on Rollins like my partner wants. I want to beat up on Orton, the face of the company, who may become the ass, and then Triple H is next. I've been hearing, like I said, that Roman Reigns is supposed to be this breakout guy, and I'm hearing like a lot of rumors lately that he's being groomed to face Triple H at SummerSlam. That'd be intriguing if that comes to fruition. So, of course, later on tonight, we would see Seth Rollins finally speak out and break his silence, as you see by my subtitle, about why he turned on the Shield. Members, of course, Reigns and Ambrose. And Ambrose said that after you're done speaking your little speech, we're just going to come out and beat the hell out of you. Simply put, cut to the chase. So, these are great little promo from the Shield, especially Ambrose's side of things, that he's finally gotten more insane by the minute, and really honed his insanity, really honed it in and grinded it up to be a perfect promo with that promo about Rollins. Now on with our next matchup involving the Usos, tag team champions, teaming up against Fandango, of course, coming with Layla milk-soaked after being ambushed backstage by Summer Rae. Continued their little feud after Layla was falling in love with Fandango, caused the breakup involving Summer Rae and Fandango. Of course, Layla interfered in a match a couple weeks ago, causing Summer Rae to lose to the Kim Kardashian of WWE. If you didn't see my review of that match, Eva Marie should be fired. Speaking of people who may be fired if they don't get another push soon, the continuing bearing of Damien Sandow continued tonight. He came out as this interpretive dancer partner of Fandango. If you've been seeing my reviews for the last couple of weeks, you've been really hearing me ranting about Sandow's position from being a former world champion, a future world champion, to being a guy who might be future endeavored, like I just said. But you know what's kind of funny? It's kind of a funny segment tonight. If there's one thing that to make them trend on Twitter, this is it. I think the fans are starting to come along with this whole Sandow being a joke thing. It's actually trending. I think they actually cheered Sandow tonight. I think they're cheering sympathy, especially the smart fans like me, who are sympathetic with Sandow being put in this fucked up position of becoming a joke ever since losing to Super Cena. And Sandow was trying to adapt to this style, trying to go with it, go with the flow. But indeed, the Baymain would continue with a big double kick from the Usos, and of course the big frog splash and the 1-2-3 victory from the Usos. Okay, a little matchup for the Usos, but I knew it was going to end badly for one Sandow. But like I said, he trended, so at least that was the only good thing. At least Sandow trended. If this is the way to get Sandow back on track, to make him look like a joke, to make him win approval of the fans, at least sympathy for the fans, I'll go with it. But still, I just hope this leads to Sandow finally getting more attention and getting pushed again. And I want him to qualify for Money in the Bank. And if he wins, well, he should at least try to get the title. And maybe finally get that big push he needs. So, there you go. Like I said, Sandow needs a big push, big time. I'm not ranting a lot like I have been the last couple weeks. Toning it down. Weird button down. Anyway, on to our next matchup involving Consequences Creed. Xavier Woods taking on Bo Dallas. I keep saying Bo Wyatt. Sorry. He's Bray Wyatt's real life brother. But you got the Bo Lee. People love him, people hate him. He's like John Cena, but he's like a heel. People love to hate him. And people just hate to hate him. They just hate him with a passion. I was talking with a friend today on the phone, and he's like, I just hate Bo Dallas and the way he just running around like a fucking pansy. He's not the only. I think someone else made fun of Bo Dallas recently. Was it Billy Graham or someone that made fun of Bo Dallas for running around like a fucking pansy? And once again, one more like a pansy, especially after his victory over Xavier with the Bulldog, the running Bulldog. Like Bo Dallas is okay, but his character needs more development. It's just a stereotypical character. I don't know what it'll get him for. Tell that to Adam Wells. Well, we didn't see him this week. Especially since he got his cut in his eye. A lot of injuries during the house show weekend involving Mr. Wells and Cena. I'll get to that in a moment. So, another win for Bo Dallas, trying to make everybody believe. Now on to our next matchup. The second Money in the Bank qualifying match following the match involving Sheamus and B&B. We would have Cesaro, of course, being introduced by Paul Heyman. Now, we all in Minnesota after all. The home of the university where Brock Lesnar. Please shut up about Lesnar already, Heyman. You're here to promote Cesaro, not promote Lesnar. Guy's not even in the fucking company right now. So much for him facing up against D-Bry at SummerSlam. Heard that rumor too. May not happen because D-Bry's injury. Anyway, he said that my client wants a celebration of his match at WrestleMania tonight in Minnesota. So, here is the man who won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I love that little swerve. We thought it was Lesnar, but it's Cesaro, thank goodness. The guy that he needs to promote. Taking on Rob Van Dam. These two have had their issues. Because RVD was the one that defeated Cesaro in the semifinals of the IC Championship Number Contenders Tournament with a little help from Swaggy. Anyway, we will see both guys delivering another good matchup once again. Great action for both competitors. RVD delivering some great high-flying moves. And of course, it's all delivering his usual hard-hitting uppercuts. So, they got big moves from both guys. Of course, RVD trying to go for that big 5-star Fox pass at least a couple times. Of course, he did go and nail the Rolling Thunder. But indeed, despite great efforts from Mitb, your course would be fed after being nailed against the turnbuckles and, of course, getting whammed against the ring post, especially knee first. I thought weakening the knees were going to be the setup for the Scissor Swing. But after what happened the last time he did a swing during a big matchup, costing him against Sheamus at Payback, instead of going for the swing after that ambush to RVD against the post, set it up for the neutralizer in the 1-2-3 victory. Well, that's all. Here's one of my other guys I said in my preview today. That video's on here. One of my other 5 guys that I want to see in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Since Ziggler didn't qualify, and also as we see tonight, B&B didn't qualify, at least Cesaro qualified tonight. There's 2 other guys I want to see qualified. That's Sandow and Kane. Kane makes sense because he didn't get a rematch after. Speaking of guys who didn't get a rematch, he was supposed to face Debray if healthy at the pay-per-view. So I bet you he'll be inserted. He'll be in one of the other 3 spots left. So we have Cesaro, Sheamus, W and Orton in the Money in the Bank ladder match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Take place at the MITB pay-per-view in about 3 weeks. Now, on to our next matchup. Before that, we have another promo. Of course, interview from Michael Cole, trying to get the real scoop as Seth Rollins would finally break his silence about turning on the Shield, saying that it's time to believe in me, believe in Seth Rollins. And what I've learned from Evolution is that you have to evolve. You're going to see the evolution of Seth Rollins wearing a nice fancy suit. He watched the Shield's promo from backstage, just like the Shield watched Seth's promo backstage. So Seth spoke his piece about turning on the Shield, saying that everyone's saying, oh, I turned against my brothers in the Shield. They weren't my brothers. They were just business partners. After 2 years of believing in the Shield, I learned to adapt. I adapted, and now I'm caring all about me, believing in Seth Rollins. So I was like, well, I said my piece about how I turned on what I apparently sold out, but I bought in. Now, Shield, you want to beat me up after I'm done talking? Bring it on. So he called out Ambrose and Reigns, and here they come. But just before Reigns and Ambrose would get their hands on Rollins, here comes the Wyatt family, their opponents for the night. But they took care of Wyatt's pretty quickly. Of course, 2 out of 3 came out first, Harper and Warren. And after taking care of the Wyatts pretty easily, they had their hands on Seth. That was until the other Wyatt came out, of course, before the Bray Wyatt. The triple team was on the Shield. As that was happening, I was thinking to myself, well, we're supposed to have a 6-man tag, which may end up being a handicap match if Shield can't find a partner. And at that moment, I was like, wait a minute, no way. They cannot get who I think they're going to pick. If there's one guy who didn't care who he had a team with to get his hands on Bray Wyatt, it would be the man who's faster than Rey Mysterio, more powerful than a Big Show, able to make Damien Sandow into a joke in a single bound. Super Cena would come out to save the day and make it official that he would team up against the Wyatts, team up with the Shield against the Wyatts. 2 reasons why he had Cena against the Wyatts, teaming up with the Shield. 1, makes sense because Cena, like I said, Cena wants to get his hands on the Wyatts in any way, shape, or form. And 2, he needs to be in tag team matches because he got injured. I told you, a lot of injuries during house shows over the weekend, specifically in Madison, Wisconsin. I know they did a house show here in Michigan, in Detroit. I had to go to that show when my friends did. I had a gig. But in Madison, Wisconsin, so like I said earlier, Adam Rose got a cut in his eye, and apparently Cena got his eye swelled shut during a match in Madison, Wisconsin, E2. So that's why it was an attack match, because they don't want to use him a lot, because they don't want to further damage Cena's injury or possible concussion or something. Next up, we would have another matchup, Divas matchup, involving Paige, the Divas champion, taking on the, hey, she's a crazy bitch, but she fucks on coach, she's on top of it. referring to Alicia Fox, made a Buck Cherry reference. Forgot to mention during the Shield's promo that Seth, Dean Ambrose said on his promo, I mentioned there was an HBO reference tonight. He's like, we're gonna own Game of Thrones. I don't watch that show, but I did see that Viper beating the guy gouging his eye. Spoiler alert, sorry if you haven't seen that Game of Thrones yet. With the, I've never seen the show, but I just saw that clip because everyone was reacting to it. It was like the same reactions the people had to that eye gouging in the Game of Thrones, the same reactions we had when Seth Rollins turned down the Shield last week. Remember, like I said, the crazy bitch 2.0, of course, referring to Alicia Fox, would get another chance to beat up on the Divas champion, of course, Oksana. But, of course, Oksana would kind of be a catalyst, as, of course, Alicia Fox, his friend, would try to distract Paige. But that distraction would backfire, as, of course, Alicia Fox got whammed many times. Head butting the meeting of the minds with Oksana, and I think Oksana got slapped at least once by Paige. But despite Alicia Fox trying to get back in her crazy winning ways, she would end up giving some good offense to her. Of course, Paige came flying back with some big power moves and big side kicks, ending up getting the big Scorpion cross lock and the tap out from Alicia Fox. And of course, doesn't matter if you win or lose. Doesn't matter if she wins or loses. Cuckoo! Alicia Fox went crazy on Oksana, slapping her to hell, and then grabbing some random fans, water bottles, and popcorn, pouring it all over Oksana. It's like a Jekyll and Hyde moment. She was like pouring the popcorn on her. She was like, I hate you. Oh, I'm sorry. Want some more popcorn? Oh, I'm sorry. Another slap. It's like a Jekyll and Hyde thing. She was like crazy and insane. Crazy and insane. And a snap of a finger, drop of a hat. Use your analogy. Instant analogy here. So there you go. We'll see how this crazy thing happens. It all ends up for Alicia Fox, especially until the real crazy girl AJ comes back from a little wedding with CM Punk. More CM Punk chance. Get the fuck over it. He ain't coming back. Like I said on Payback, he's retired like Michael Jordan, unless he pulls a Michael Jordan comes out of retirement. Anyway, our next matchup, we have Zeb Coulter accompanying Jack Swagger. I love Zeb Coulter. Signs are funny as hell because he's had this deporting list of all the foreigners from WWE that should be deported. Like, of course, Anna Rose have had their problems with Paige, and of course, Santino. Where I love the sign that said deport Santino, but the back was funnier. Here's a pizza my mind. Get it? Pizza my mind. Pizza my mind. Waka. Anyway, cause Santino, whatever happened to Emma? We haven't seen her in a while. Maybe she's being weak back and she ended up being so fucking silly, not getting a good response. Maybe they sent her back to NXT because we haven't seen her lately. Oh, she's injured. Anyway, Santino would come in with his high flashy moves. Those comedy moves like he always tries to do. He was going to set up for the Cobra. But then Swagger put the Cobra to sleep. Then indeed putting Santino to sleep with the Swagger bomb and the 1-2-3 victory. Okay, little squasher for Swagger getting back in the winning ways. We the people. Indeed. Now on to our next matchup, the main event. The 6-man tag. The Shield's remnants. Of course, Rollins' former partners, Ambrose and Reigns, taking on. Teamed up with John Cena against the Wyatt. I almost pulled Michael Cole. Because Michael Cole, he was like, the remnants of the Shield take on the Wyatt family. Kind of botchamania for Michael Cole, almost calling the Wyatt family the Shield. So, these little 6-man tag, I always love when the Shield with Rollins would team up against the Wyatt. I've already complimented, and I've already kind of lauded their match at the Elimination Chamber that I really stood up and took notice of Ambrose's partner Rollins for the first time in that Elimination Chamber match. His performance in that match was awesome. As like I said, they made me stand up and take notice of Rollins. So it's kind of weird to see the remaining members of the Shield take on the Wyatts tonight. And the match was still decent, despite the fact they had Cena for a tag team partner. Cena wasn't in much because, like I said, of his injury and because of Shield tagging each other in. Of course, being Rollins' former partners, Ambrose and Reigns. They were introduced as Seth Rollins' former partners. Just introduced them. When they came out, the announcer just said, "Here comes Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns." They didn't say the Shield after it. Just used them by their two names. Because they're not the Shield without all three members. That's what it seems like. It's like the Temptations. You know, they can go on without one guy. But the Shield, they can't be the Shield without. It's like not having Led Zeppelin without John Bonham. Oh, wait, they did do that. One-off reunion. Anyway, of course, Ambrose would try to come in after an early fury from Reigns. Of course, Ambrose would be cornered for the majority of the matchup, being isolated with the quick tags in and out from the Wyatt family. Just dominating all over Ambrose until Cena tried to get a hot tag in, trying to power his way, of course, being a Super Cena way, until he got pummeled in the later half of this matchup. Of course, Harper, in my mind, is probably the second best member of the Wyatts. I've always complained about the wrestling style. I think they've gotten better as brawler wrestlers. And of course, Harper has been a great speaker, the second best speaker in the Wyatt family besides Bray. Once again, delivered another great promo tonight, like he did last week. Harper is like Seth Rollins, the guy who's making me stand up and take notice in the Wyatt family, being Harper. So I've always thought of him as an afterthought, but now he's really stepping up his game. I think Ambrose is doing the same thing. Now with Rollins out, I think Ambrose is stepping up his game, especially with his promo earlier tonight, which I've already complimented. So we would see these 6 guys, all hell would break loose later on as Reigns would get another tag, and it was just war all over the ring, with of course Ambrose flying in and out, Cena trying to go for his big moves. He did go for an FU, but then he was caught in midair for a Sister Abigail by Bray Wyatt. It was just chaos, big Superman punch, but Harper took him down. But I knew Harper was going to unfortunately set himself up to be fed to the spear from Roman Reigns. Was exactly what happened in the 1-2-3 victory for Ambrose and Reigns and Cena. They would stand tall to the dismay of the Authority, with Triple H and Seth Rollins watching backstage or being on vacation this week. So, of course, they wanted to destroy the remains of the Shield. But Triple H saying this was their last matchup, especially if they couldn't find a partner. But they saw the Shield's remains get the victory with a little help from John Cena. I'm calling him Super Cena again because now we've seen Sandow turn into a fucking joke. Till Sandow not becomes a fucking joke, blame Cena. Blame Cena. Like I said, if you lose to Cena, you're buried. Your career ends. Like we've seen with Sandow. Hope it's a turnaround, especially with them training tonight. Because of all things, a silly dance segment with Fandango. They could work out if they were a permanent team. They could put Sandow back on the winning way. At least give him a little pushback. It's like what happened with Cesaro and Swagger. Cesaro was lost till he teamed up with Swagger. You now look at Cesaro now. He's in the Money to Bank ladder match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in 3 weeks. So there you go. These are a little one tonight. We're on the road to Money in the Bank. And that is it for my Raw review for this evening. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the review from Zach. Once again, thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your Monday and rest of your week, everybody. See ya. Yeah.